All right, y'all, what is good? It's King Von's 67th victim. Please, brother, do not come get me. Coming at you again with another video. Listen, I have seen some of my favorite rappers go down for some of the most heinous crimes. So today, I'm going to cover about 6 or 7. If this video does well, I'm thinking about doing other genres, rock and roll, maybe even actors, whatever. We'll see how it does. But yeah, let's get right into it. For clarity, this is not a deep dive into criminal trials. If you're expecting me to go into each case individually, I'm sorry, brother. You've come to the wrong place. This is not what we're doing. So before Tamor McIntyre was Tay-K 47, before he was going on the run and rapping in front of his wanted poster, tough. Before he did that, like 16, rapping in front of the wanted poster. Come on, bro. Who's doing this? They not doing it like that no more, right? There's no real felons in the rap game. Come on, bro. Before he was up to no good, he was just a little SoundCloud rapper, bro. He was just chilling with the homies, right? A lot of that changed on July 26, 2016. Anyway, on this date, Tay-K and about 6 other people all have a plan to rob a drug dealer in Mansfield, Texas. Now, they have a queue, and it's been set up by the drug dealer's own girlfriend. His name was Zachary. Gentlemen, if you haven't learned from 2016, before 2016, and in the big 2025, we do not trust the hoes. It just doesn't happen. All right, so they get the cue. Tay-K and his boys, they all rush in and they're ransacking the house. They're scavenging. Tay-K's rummaging about. He's fucking crawling on all fours and shit. He's jumping off the walls and shit. Who knows what's going on in there? I wasn't there. I don't know. So they're all rummaging around. They're looking for the drugs. They're looking for the money. Tay-K's co-conspirators, Sean Robinson and Letharian Merritt. Oh my God, who be naming niggas like that? Letharian? I don't blame niggas for turning to a life of crime with a name like Letharian. There's literally, what else are you gonna do? They ended up getting into it with Ethan Walker. He's one of the victims of the robbery. He's in the house. Bro was literally, I don't really feel like he was connected. Apparently, bro was just in there playing video games with his girlfriend. He's probably running up Mario Kart with his girl. So apparently a back and forth ensued between Sean, Merritt, and Ethan. They were looking for, drugs, money, and they're telling them, oh, we don't have it. There's nothing here. And Merritt ended up pulling the trigger and ending Ethan's life. Tay-K and his band of miscreants, they were all placed on house arrest and they were charged with capital murder. After being on house arrest for about 8 months, Tay-K finally had enough. So he tweeted out on March 27th, 2017, fuck this house arrest shit, fuck 12, they gonna have to catch me on Hood. What an inspiration this guy is. He's a man of few words. It might be the Aristotle of our time. Let's be honest. So Buddy would flee from Texas to Jersey. No idea why he would pick Jersey. Musty. Anyway, he would tease the police the entire time he was out. It was about 3 months. He would drop the music video. He was rapping in front of the wanted poster, doing all that bullshit. And he would finally be caught on June 30th. So he would plead not guilty to capital murder and then guilty to 2 counts of capital robbery. Tay-K would be found guilty of murder, just not capital murder. And that's because his intentions going into the robbery were not to kill. The jury would sentence Buddy to about 55 years, and that's kind of his entire life. I'm not sure what the outcome was gonna be here, bud. Not sure what you were hoping for, buddy. I'm gonna include this because I don't think many people are aware of it, but at the same time Tay-K was on the run, he would get swept up in another murder charge. In 2017, Tay-K had allegedly pulled the trigger and killed a photographer in a Chick-fil-A parking lot. Rip that guy. Terrible place to go. Absolutely, probably the last place I would ever imagine going. Not gonna lie to you. So apparently Tay-K and the band were attempting to rob the cameraman Mark Saldivar. I don't want to butcher his name. After a struggle ensued, They kicked Mark out of the car, and that's when Mark jumped on top of the car, and Tay-K ended up pulling the trigger and ending his life. So on April 15th, 2025, Tay-K would actually be sentenced to 80 years for the murder of Mark Saldivar. Again, I don't want to butcher his name if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. This sentence would run concurrently with the previous charge of 55 years for his involvement in the robbery I mentioned before. I'm not surprised by this at all, man. It sucks that he was 16 and he threw his entire life and career away, but you can't be killing innocent people. Never heard of Cameraman Never Dies, brother? Come on, get it together. Can't do that. Probably deserve to be in there. If a nigga kill me in Chick-fil-A, I'm gonna resurrect from the dead and kill you with Chick-fil-A sauce. I'll drown you in that shit. I don't care. You're not killing me in Chick-fil-A. That's not happening. Man, next I want to talk to you about Gucci Mane, the big Gucci, baby, the in-between spot, you feel me? I'm sorry, Mr. Gucci, I don't mean that. You know I'm kidding, right? Alright, so this case happened forever ago, but in May 2005, while Gucci was beefing with Jeezy, apparently a bounty was placed on Gucci's ice cream cone chain. Now, one night, Gucci had brought home a stripper from the club, and while they were doing their thing, 5 men rushed in and tried to steal his chain. Jeezy denies putting any bounty on Gucci for this ice cream cone chain, but apparently it was like $10K. After a scuffle ensued, Gucci ended up getting his hands on a gun. He shoots at the men and drops one of them. His name was Henry Clark III, aka Pookie Loke. And this guy's body was found 3 days later and near a local middle school. It was like near, like in the forest area near that school. This next part is highly debated, but apparently Gucci actually buried the body of Pookie.
Even with the murder, even though it was self-defense, do you ever think about that? And you think like maybe I could have handled that different, especially when you did like the diss record?
He needed to be in the ground. I put his ass where he supposed to be. He tried, man.
Like I said, his body was found in the woods. So some people suggest that Gucci went out there and buried Pookie Loke's body. It does kind of seem like Gucci moved like that, but I don't know. He's kind of vicious like that, little Pookie. But like, you know what I mean? You can't. Why are you rushing in to steal the ice cream cone chain? Something's gonna happen to you. You don't steal a man's ice cream cone chain. You just don't do it. It doesn't happen. There's no real proof that he actually did that. But the Cobb County actually did put a warrant out for Gucci's arrest for first-degree murder. And on May 29, 2005, he ended up turning himself in, claiming that the shots were in self-defense. And in January of 2006, those murder charges were completely dismissed due to insufficient evidence. So, Buddy ended up beating that shit.
See, when I ain't had no money, I still had sauce. See, if you don't got no sauce, then you lost.
Gucci does end up having a slew of other arrests, some of them for more minor crimes and some of them major. In July of 2005, Gucci Mane was arrested in Miami for an assault. At Big Cat Records, Gucci Mane apparently assaulted a club promoter. After an argument ensued, and this is from the club promoter's perspective, after an argument ensued, Gucci Mane ended up smacking the shit out of Buddy with a pool stick and kept beating him while he was on the ground. What was Gucci Mane's lawyer's defense for this? He literally just said it never happened. This never occurred, and kid is making that shit up. How can you argue with that?
The name of the album is I Killed Darnell Simmons.
It's a concept album.
A concept?
But in October, Gucci Mane actually ended up pleading no contest, and he was found guilty with assault and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He ended up spending 6 months in prison, and then he was on probation for 6.5 years for this. He would also end up having to pay $3,000 in medical expenses for the club promoter. In between the following years, there are some more minor offenses that I just won't get into, but in March of 2013, the Atlanta police issued a warrant for Gucci Mane's arrest after he assaulted a fan who tried to take a picture with him. James, who was a soldier in attendance at Harlem Nights Club, he saw Gucci out and attempted to get a picture with him, right? So imagine you're literally just chilling, you're having a good time, a good night on the town, you see Gucci and you're like, oh, I need a picture with Gucci. And the nigga randomly attacks you with a champagne bottle.
And I started thinking to myself, man, What did he do to make them niggas that mad?
What? Brother, let me get a pic. The fuck? The fact that this is his own fan, mind you, makes this so fucking crazy to me, but whatever. The bottle ends up leaving a deep gash on James and he presses charges, obviously. On April 10th, Gucci would be indicted on 1 count of aggravated assault and he would post a $75,000 bail. So in September of 2013, Gucci would be arrested on some more minor charges, just some bud or whatever. But after a few months in prison, he would be facing his longest prison sentence yet. Gucci would be charged in federal court with 2 counts of possessing a firearm as a felon, and this carries a maximum sentence of 20 years. Bro would plea out, so he would only end up getting 3 years, and after serving almost 3 years, they would finally let Buddy out of jail May 26, 2016. When Gucci came out, everybody thought Gucci was something happened to him in prison, like he was cloned.
I guess that, you know, people ain't used to me being healthy and taking care of myself and being happy. So I can understand why they shocked, you know what I'm saying? So it's funny. I embrace it. It just let me know a clone is like perfection.
I remember seeing that everywhere. They said, no, that can't be Gucci. Bro, he came out lean as shit, ready to kill somebody. But, you know, since this situation, Gucci has been, you know, free to do whatever he wants. He's just been chilling. He stayed out of trouble. So good for Gucci. I want to get into a real deviant next. Like, there's no denying this nigga is a terrible individual. YNW Melly. Before the federal court case that he's in jail for now, before any of this crazy shit happened with him blowing up and the Kanye song, Melly would be arrested for a violent offense that he faced in high school. At the start of 10th grade in October of 2015, Demons would be charged with firing a weapon in a school zone at 3 upperclassmen. In a school zone, brother. Jesus. Melly would be charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and 1 count of discharging a weapon in public. He would be locked up for a year in jail after this, and nigga ain't learned nothing in there. He ain't learned. Brother did not learn a goddamn thing in there. Alright, so let's get into the case we all know. In February of 2019, YNW Melly was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Him and a fellow rapper, YNW Bortland, apparently murdered their 2 best friends and then staged it as a drive-by shooting. Not only that, man, Melly and Bortland drove around for hours with their friends in the car. Rip to their friends, but holy fuck, brother. Be a human. Can we relax? Can we just can everybody chill?
You weird, buddy.
For hours. This is the time apparently they used to think of ways to, you know, stage it and make it look like somebody else committed the murder. So fucking odd. Niggas are so weird. The police would actually retrieve the GPS tracking information from both Melly and Bortland's phones just to see where they were and at what times. Just, you know, so they were saying, oh, Melly was actually over here, and it's like, no, you were driving around with your friends' bodies in the car, brother. We see it. On October 26, 2018, YNW Juvie, YNW Bortland, and YNW Sack Chaser arrived at Memorial Hospital, Miramar, I don't know how the fuck to say that, at 4:35 a.m. with multiple gunshot wounds on Juvie and Sack Chaser. So the vehicle had 8 shots on the right side and then 1 shot through the back window. And police officers cite through phone records and GPS tracking that YNW Melly was at the scene of the crime, but for some reason he was not with them when they all came to the hospital, meaning Bortland, Juvie, and Sack Chaser. Police officers also have autopsy reports that say YNW Juvie and Sack Chaser were shot from inside of the car, which means Melly or Bortland had shot them from inside of the car. It was not a drive-by shooting as they wanted it to seem like. Melly was seen mourning his friends on social media, and this is exactly what he said. They took my brothers from me over jealousy. He added that the killers wanted to see him break down and stop, or in jail or a box. What a fucking sadistic freak, bro. Like,
What the fuck is this nigga talking about?
come on, bruh. You're really gonna do the whole fake more of my friends on social media shit allegedly because this is an ongoing case, but blah blah blah, whatever. You're a fucking weirdo for that shit, man. I'm just gonna like you're a fucking weirdo. Split personality, you're not, buddy. It wasn't me, guys. It was Melvin.
But Melvin, I only let him out at nighttime. And I need to stop doing that. Like when the night hits, he really come. And it's like, Melvin is just like, once you play with Melly to a certain extent, Melvin just don't like that. Melvin on your ass.
Boy, the fuck is you on right now, man? That shit is so disrespectful. Currently, Melly has spent like 6 years behind bars, right? His trial has been marked by like years of like delays, and there was a hung jury in 2023. In 2027, he is supposed to be on trial again, and that's supposed to be January of 2027. That would mark 8 years that he's gonna be behind bars without any sort of bond. He's not been bailed out. Like, they keep denying his bail. Thank the fucking Lord. Who knows what that menace would be doing on the streets. But yeah, there's just been a bunch of conflicts with his case and his trial. Shit's still ongoing. And most recently, I'm just gonna update y'all on the case. YNW Bortland was offered a plea deal. I'm not exactly sure what happened with that. I just know he was offered a plea deal, but it would extremely like reduce his life sentence. I'm not sure if like he's gonna be like snitching on Melly or whatever, because apparently Bortland was just the driver from what we can gather, but who fuck knows. Honestly, keep both them niggas in jail, bro. If you're driving around for hours with your friends' bodies in the car with you, you need to be behind bars. You can't be out here with normal folks. Not me. Don't even come around me. I don't know. Imagine I go to Florida and see YNW Melly around. No. No. Keep that nigga locked up. Next, I want to touch on Bobby Shmurda. Now, Bobby went down when I was like fucking young as shit, man. He really was popping with a couple songs and then just got taken out. So he was part of GS9, the G Stone Crips. And apparently they were involved with like battles with rival gangs and narcotics trafficking. But December 18, 2014 at Quad Studios in Manhattan, Bobby and GS9, or 14 members of GS9, were arrested, right? And Bobby, that nigga was taken to Rikers. Not the best place you want to go. Probably not that good. Not that good of a place, I've heard. I'm not gonna go over every single thing Bobby was charged with, but this nigga was charged with like 70 different things, like on his indictment. Murder, gun possession, drug possession, conspiracy to commit murder. It's just a long list of shit. I'm not gonna get into the other members of GS9, but some of them were charged with murder, drug possession, gun possession, etc. Similar charges as Bobby. These aren't the kind of guys you want to chill with on a casual Tuesday, mind you.
Dope, Phil. You got dope as hell?
And Bobby's bail, that shit was set to a whopping 2 million buckaroonies. He was cooked from the start. Police also found about 21 guns and some fucking crack. Can't be a quote-unquote hot nigga without a little crack, apparently. So on September the 2nd, 2016, Bobby Shmurda would plead guilty. 2 counts, one of third-degree conspiracy and one of weapons possession. Bobby made this deal to get 7 years, as long as Rowdy Rebel, his GS9 co-conspirator, would also get 7 years, down from his original 12. Because Rowdy Rebel was going to get 12 years. Bobby took this deal to ensure that him and his bro would get literally 7 years each. Like, it was kind of real. I can't even lie. Like, I don't think most niggas would do that, right? Imagine you could get less time or whatever, but you're taking 7, so your homie gets 7. Like, it's a real nigga move. Not me. You're fucked. You're cooked. I'm getting out as soon as possible. Sorry. I'm not that guy. Me? You come around and do crime around me, you're going to prison.
FBI? Him.
So considering Bobby was literally facing 25 years originally, this deal was handed down by God himself, bro. Like, this is some shit you would lay down in your back and let niggas play ping pong with your ball sack for. It's on that level. Well, The next nigga I'm gonna talk about, y'all, is a controversial spirit, man. Kodak Black, aka Dyson. What the fuck is this nigga's name? Dyson Octave. Unfortunately, Kodak would face his first arrest in the spotlight. So this arrest was for assault, robbery, kidnapping, and false imprisonment of an adult and a child under 13. Apparently, Kodak had been accused of forcing several people into a car because he assumed that one of them had broken into his home. He was released not too long after that, but these are the crimes that he had been accused of at the time. This next one is a more serious charge. Apparently, Kodak had assaulted a woman in 2016 in Florence, South Carolina. I have to say allegedly for this one. This woman had reportedly come back to Kodak's hotel room after being out at a club called Treasure City. Reportedly, the woman said after entering the room, Kodak ripped off her clothes, assaulted her, and bit her. Kodak would then be charged with criminal sexual misconduct. I'm not really sure how this isn't just, straight up grape. But in April of 2016, Kodak would be arrested again when police witnessed a shady transaction between Kodak Black and another man. After the cops flashed their lights, Kodak tried to do the fucking dash on him, right? He was zooming through the streets. Apparently, they even caught Buddy trying to toss a gun into a dumpster. Like, brother, you're caught. Give it up. The jig is up, man. Come out. You're not, unless you can shove some shit up your ass, you're not getting away with that. You're cooked. Kodak would be charged with possession of a weapon by a convicted felon, possession of cannabis, and fleeing officers. He would bail out, and I shit you not, bro, not even a month later, this nigga would be arrested for something else. He just loves prison. He loves prison. He loves it in there. Leave that nigga in there, actually. He love it. The charges Kodak would be arrested on were the ones I mentioned previously, not the alleged assault on the woman, but the armed robbery and false imprisonment. He would actually end up in jail for a few months and eventually plead no contest. This was in August of that year, and he would end up getting 5 years probation and 1 year of house arrest. Shit, bro. Believe it or not, this nigga was actually rearrested, this time for an open warrant for weed, which I'm not going to go into this charge. I don't care about, but whatever. Who gives a fuck? But he would actually be transported. This nigga was doing a world tour of prisons. He would be transported and then finally charged for the sexual assault and battery that had happened in South Carolina.
Damn, bro. I just want to be in cahoots with you.
He would end up posting a $100K bond and then would go out on jail and be up to no good yet again. And by up to no good, I mean this nigga would be arrested again in 2017. So a couple of his next jail sentences were due to him violating his probation from those previous cases. Some of the shit was just like weed, so he had to do like some life skills like courses. He was supposed to be sentenced to jail for like a year. He got out in like 180 days. Another one where he ended up going on IG Live and had weed and a gun like near his child while he was on IG Live, and the police actually ended up raiding this nigga while he was on IG Live.
Mr. Black, right? Yeah. What's up, sir? Your phone's part of the search warrant. You're not making your phone back.
My phone part of the search.
Oh, man.
I have found you, nigga.
And most of the charges end up getting dropped except for the possession of like weed and ammunition charges. So he ended up getting sent to jail for another year, and then he would eventually get out in 2018, August of 2018. I'm not gonna lie to you, Buddy is genuinely just stupid. He's actually dumb as shit. I've never seen anything like this. Bro, for some reason, Kodak can't be satisfied with peace. That nigga craves violence and war. For some reason, Buddy spent $3,000 on guns and ammunition, armed himself up like the Terma nigga, and was arrested again, if you can believe it. So he bought all those weapons and stuff in January 25th of 2019. The next month, for some odd reason, Kodak needs to go to the Canadian border. His excuse was, I have no idea how I ended up here. Meanwhile, Buddy had like the armory of the prime Soviet Union in his trunk.
Your time has come.
There's no way out of this one.
What is bro up to? What is he doing? Apparently his excuse was that he never meant to like leave the US and he had no knowledge of the guns in his trunk. Like he just completely forgot they were there. So when he would go through the border check, the cops searched all of his shit, checked it, and he was charged with weed possession and 3rd-degree criminal possession of a weapon. So he'd make bail, but then in May he would be rearrested on federal, like state charges of gun possession from all of those guns he bought as a felon during that time. He would not be able to bond out of this because the cops had found a gun in his possession that was connected to a shooting in his old projects. Obviously Kodak's prints were found on that gun, and a car in Kodak's name was found abandoned near the scene, and GPS tracking placed Kodak at the scene of the crime when the shooting had taken place. Holy fuck, brother. So Kodak would actually end up pleading guilty to this and getting 46 months in prison, right? In 2021, Trump was nearing the end of his presidency, and he was just like, I don't know if y'all remember, he was granting clemency to a bunch of people. Kodak was one of those people. So even though he pled guilty and was convicted of this, he was let out, absolved of all of his charges. It's fucking crazy. These next two guys are connected throughout parts of their career. They kind of grew up together, so I decided to do them together. The first one I'm gonna start with is the S-class serial killer, the terror of O Block. I'm talking about King Von, bro. This nigga was just, he was fucking different. And his arrest record is kind of fucking ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie. Von's first arrest came when he was around 16 years old. This was in August of 2010. Bro was actually arrested for armed robbery. So he was always up to no good. But he was actually granted an early release because he was spending time in a military boot camp, and this shortened his sentence. All right, so not too long after this, Von would be arrested again on January 6th of 2011 for another armed robbery, if you can believe it. Bro, this nigga doesn't take a break. He doesn't take breaks. He's a career criminal. Like, this shit was really a full-time job for Buddy. After that, he would be arrested for a couple of smaller things like armed battery. There was a shooting that took place, but he was never charged for it. So later on, he would actually end up going to jail for an extended period of time, a year, for possessing a firearm. Von was freed on February 12th, but I'm not really going to go into every single shooting he's connected with. Like I said, man, this is like his whole arrest record, his whole criminal record is extensive. I'm not going to get into every single detail, but this nigga, bro, he was tied to so many shootings. He might have been the nigga who shot JFK. He literally, it wasn't Lee Harvey. It wasn't Oswald. It was probably Von. If you look back in those pictures, that nigga was there. He's just everywhere. He's just fucking mass murderer. He's a diabolical killer. I don't know if niggas remember in Harry Potter where they had Sirius Black's wanted poster up everywhere, bro. Prisoner of Azkaban. That's how they were treating Von. That's literally how they were treating Von and O Block, bro. Like, this nigga was a threat. He was a threat. So Von's next official conviction would come on May 29th, 2014. This is a shooting a lot of people have heard about. It's the one that occurred at an afternoon party where Von and his fellow BD, which is a Black Disciple member, his name is Big Mike. Von and his fellow BD, they would see a bunch of rival gang members at a party that they were attending. Apparently, the story goes that Von saw the rival gang members there. He left, came back with Big Mike, and they started shooting immediately. There was no... Alright, I won't say immediately. The thing is, Von is courteous, right? They didn't immediately start shooting. Von and Big Mike, apparently, they were like, oh, you know what, guys? Put the children inside at least. Like you know what
Nigga, where your mom at, nigga?
He's a courteous nigga, man. He'll kill you, but you know what I mean. He's a protector of the children. Somebody's got to be. Obviously, it's Von. What made this shooting a big deal is because while Von and Big Mike, aka Michael Wade, they would start shooting at these rival gang members, and Big Mike would injure one, shoot one in the foot. Von would end up shooting another gang member in the face, break his jaw. But these two would be victims of the shooting, but they wouldn't pass away. The person who actually ended up passing away was he wasn't an affiliated gang member at all. He was just some dude who was passing through. His name was Malcolm Stuckey. This is the case that apparently Von would be acquitted of. So Stuckey was declared dead at the scene. The other two victims survived, and Von and Big Mike, they wouldn't be arrested until like 2 months later. But during that time, Von would actually be arrested on separate charges. This arrest occurred on June the 7th of 2014, and apparently the charge was a firearm charge, right? What made this arrest so interesting is the fact that Von was apparently in his prom suit. This nigga was on his way to prom and decided, you know what? I might have to run a drill right now. This is no time for punch. I have to shoot somebody. There's no time for this. Drink some punch, brother. Drink some punch. Enjoy the night. You don't need to be murdering. Damn. Niggas can't relax one night. One night you can't take off. But, you know, regardless of this nigga's prom antics, on the 22nd of July 2014, Big Mike would actually be arrested for the murder of Malcolm Stuckey. And then 2 days later, while Von is in jail on those firearm charges, he would finally be charged with the murder of Malcolm Stuckey and then 2 attempted murders, being the victims that they were actually, you know, the rival gang members that they were actually trying to eliminate. Von would be in jail from June 2014 to December of 2017. So it was about 3.5 years that the two would be held in jail without bond, facing 1 third-degree murder and 2 attempted murders. Wade, aka Big Mike, was charged with aggravated battery with a firearm. He was sentenced to 28 years. Von was acquitted of first-degree murder and the 2 attempted murders. I have no idea how this nigga beat this case. Find that nigga's lawyer. It must have been OJ's lawyer. Find him. If I'm ever in any danger, somebody contact this nigga. Please, I'm begging you. How? The culprit is... That's the nigga right there. That's him. Your Honor, him. Von would finally be set free on the 6th of December of 2017, and after this is when he kind of starts hanging around Durk. Like later on, he starts hanging around Durk, he moves to Atlanta, and he's doing shit down there. And this is when Durk and Von's crimes start becoming connected. For those of you who aren't aware, the two were charged and arrested with shooting that occurred down in Atlanta. In June of 2019, Von and Durk were charged with allegedly robbing and shooting a man outside of this restaurant in Atlanta. This place is called The Varsity. Apparently, the shooting took place on February 5th, 2019. The two were charged with being felons in possession of a firearm, criminal intent to commit murder, and a slew of other charges. Von's bail was about $250,000 and Durk's bail was $300,000, and they were both able to post bail. In this case, Durk actually turned himself in of May of 2019 after his arrest warrant was issued. Apparently for Von, things took a different turn. They issued his arrest warrant, but he was already in Chicago. So the police there ended up raiding O-Block, bro. Like, and there's footage of this that I'm gonna include, but...
Hey, what y'all got me? Stay on the ground. Stay on the ground. Gang, what the... Just don't resist. Don't resist. Gang, why y'all grab me? What the fuck wrong with y'all?
They ended up raiding O-Block. They fucking hunted this nigga down. They pulled him out, fucking slammed him on the concrete, and they dragged his ass all the way back to Atlanta and charged him with this crime. I just wanted to include this shit because I thought it was funny as hell. But apparently before Durk turned himself in, this nigga hopped on the news and did an interview about how he was innocent of the crime. But literally all this nigga was doing was like promoting his new song.
An exclusive interview.
You're about to surrender as we speak.
Yeah.
How come?
Because I have nothing to add.
So Buddy was just doing marketing for this like little news interview. I'm gonna include that shit too, but why is this nigga doing interviews right now? Brother, you're being arrested for a shooting. This is not the time to be. Who are you? Get off the fucking news, nigga. This is a case where Durk's charges were dropped, but Von was never able to be charged for this. It's because he died so suddenly. He died on November the 6th, but literally, buddy, the prosecutors were saying like they had enough evidence to actually convict Von of this, and they believed that he would have been convicted of this crime, but there's no way to charge a nigga who, you know what I mean, kicking up dirt right now. And I could be sensitive about Von's death, whatever. Let's be honest. Some people, they have to go. You have to go. Come on, brother. That nigga was a danger to the community. He was a danger to me. I don't even know the nigga. I'm billions of miles away from him. I know for a fact this nigga was a danger to me. He was a danger to my health. All right, so last but not least, I am going to talk about Durk. I'm going to talk about his crimes. I'm going to talk about everything that he's been going through lately. And let's get into it. Durky, yo. Never gonna do that shit again. Holy fuck. Durk had a slew of minor charges that he was convicted of when he was younger, like weapons possession and things like that. But he wasn't arrested for anything overtly violent until the whole Von and him shooting at the Varsity in 2019. But in 2022, Durk's OTF was charged with a shooting that occurred outside of a gas station and ended up killing Quando Rondo's cousin. Let's get into the details surrounding that and exactly why that happened and how Durk is connected to this, because he himself did not actually participate in that shooting. Bro, I'm not even gonna lie to you, they treating Durk like he the fucking godfather right now, bro. It's nuts. According to the superseding indictment in 2010, Durk formed the organization OTF, which is Only the Family. Currently, OTF is being accused of being a group that, beyond hip-hop, they enact violence, they do murders, they do assaults. This is just what they're being accused of, allegedly, but the facts speak otherwise. So after King Von's death in 2020, Durk ended up putting out a hit on the person who apparently had caused this, right? He used that OTF family, which is his like label organization, to do a little murder for hire plots.
Quando's career has been affected because
Quando's a little boy. I used to have him like this.
He had Kevon Grant, which is aka Cuz, which is part of this OTF family. He used this guy to rent everything that they would need, right? Like tickets, hotels, renting cars, everything, etc. Everything was going to go through this guy so that they could plan this. This would happen in August 2022 in LA at this Beverly Hills shopping mall. I have to use allegedly for a lot of this stuff because it is an ongoing trial, but apparently Durk's OTF, they followed Quando Rondo's black Escalade into a gas station, and that's when they opened fire. The thing is, Quando Rondo wasn't injured in the attack at all, but his cousin was, and his cousin was actually killed. I'm gonna read off exactly what Durk is being charged with because it is a lot.
Got the whole shit, the mug show. No.
Currently, Durk is being charged with 1 count of conspiracy, 1 count of using interstate facilities to commit murder, 1 count of carrying and discharging firearms and a machine gun, and possession of such firearms in furtherance of a crime of violence resulting in death. So, Savaye Robinson, the victim, is Quando Rondo's cousin. All of this stems from that shooting that happened to King Von, where it led to his untimely death. And since then, Durk and Quando Rondo have been beefing. And in order to get that get back for Von, Durk apparently has been plotting this murder. Anybody who's a fan of Durk or his music knows that his rise and his like acclaim to fame was just like he kept going and going and going, and eventually he was gonna probably reach that like level of superstardom. But I feel like now, man, it's just like niggas just throw away everything. everything in pursuit of revenge, and it's just so fucking dumb, man. This trial is still ongoing, so maybe, who knows, Durk could be off. He's not gonna get off, but he could get off, you know what I mean? But he's not gonna get off, but we'll see, man. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Leave a like, subscribe maybe if you fuck with me, if you fuck with your boy. And if you guys like this type of content, like I said, I might do different genres. I might even expand into like doing actors or like comedians or who the fuck else knows. Like I might do Louis CK. Who knows, bro? So yeah, thank you guys. All right, I'll see y'all. Peace.